What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of JaAR. JaAR, for those of you that may be new, stands for Joe and Amy Review. It's our weekly show where we go over the magic stories that are posted on Wizards' website, or for this week and the next couple of weeks, we go over the filler Vorthos content that Wizards gives us while we wait for the next set to come out, in this case, Rivals of Ixalan. You may be wondering why the "and Amy" was done by me and not actually Amy. Well, it's because it turns out when you are filming and your footage gets corrupted and you wait until after Amy goes to bed to edit, this is what you end up with. So bear with me. She will be here in a second. I apologize for the just me. But I want to go over what we did in the beginning, because otherwise it's going to kind of make no sense. Our quick review at the beginning was, first of all, we covered the 10 burning questions from the Ixalan story, and it was by Chaz. And our quick review at the beginning was, if you haven't gone and read it yet, just watch our video. It's very short, it can be gone through very quickly and easily, but we both agreed, and you'll hear it, that this story was, well, not story, sorry, this article was kind of pointless. We get into the details later on, and you'll see that in a minute, but yeah, Chaz gave us a little intro. So, sorry, on to the full review itself. Chaz gave us a little bit of an intro. In that little bit of an intro, he tried to tell a joke that kind of didn't land. It wasn't exceptionally funny. Talking about the 9/9, the ancient Brontodon, crewing a ship. Like, if you guys have played Magic at local game stores, you've heard people talking about this before. At least I have. I don't know, maybe I'm unique, but it kind of didn't land. He rode that, pun intended, I guess, joke all the way through in the closing as well. Amy and I were not aware going in who Chaz was. In his little bio, it explained that he plays with his cats and does magic-related things as well. That's totally fine. I think the only reason that it matters that we don't know who Chaz is because Wizards chose him to make content for them, and then to be the one, at least according to Wizards, who chose the questions, the 10 questions that were asked. And as we go through this video, you will see that Amy and I had a problem with those questions. Now, Amy and I had a little bit of a disagreement in the great, lovely footage that you guys don't get to see, unfortunately, but I'll summarize it here, is that I don't believe that it was solely Chaz. I believe that Chaz had maybe some of the questions, but that Wizards kind of helped him pick them. Amy thinks that because of the quality of the questions, it seems likely that it was just Chaz. You can let us know what you think in the comments down below. As always, that was just kind of our little discussion there on both sides. It was not good, in our opinion, and you'll see that as we go into it, but yeah, so I just wanted to give this little intro here back to Amy and I. So regardless of all of that, there were 10 questions, as the title implies. So looking at the first question first, Chaz asked about the Sun Empire versus the River Heralds. Are they actually at war? Why did Watley think that she could team up with one of them as a guide? And we were told that they are at war, and that, that they are competing with one another, but they kind of stopped because the Legion of Dusk came around a few years ago. None of that information was in any of the stories. None of it. So that, I guess, makes this a pertinent question to ask. I have not personally opened up we have not personally opened our bundles yet to get the storybook that is in the bundles, to see if they give us that background information in there or where else it would have been. I can say from what we have covered on this show and from what we have seen Vorthos content-wise that Magic has put out or Wizards of the Coast has put out, we have not seen that information anywhere else and are not aware of where else we might have been able to hear that. So I guess that's okay. I think it leads me to question, though, why that information wasn't anywhere else if it's being presented to us as something that's like, yeah, of course, they've totally been, why wouldn't you?
Because I disagree with what you said in that wizards are basically the ones who came up with these questions. I think he came up with these questions because he's a Vorthos dude, some random Vorthos dude, and so he had these questions, and then Wizards was like, well, here's ways that we can answer these questions that don't give away information that we don't want to give away.
Speaking of which, the second question asked about who is responsible for Ixalan's binding, or is it a byproduct of something? I wrote here in my notes, that's a waste of a question.
Yeah.
Because Wizards responded in exactly the way that they should have responded, and in exactly the way that I would have responded if it was asked to me, which is, how about you wait until the next set of stories comes out? Why would they tell you here?
Right.
Because that's clearly a question that everyone has on their minds, and we just have to wait until the next stories to have that question answered. That's just inherent in the fact that there's still another set of stories to come out. So why would you ask that question? There's no way they were going to answer it.
That's how I feel about all of these questions. Because I literally think that there were a bunch of questions that they didn't really answer because they don't want to answer them yet. And then the questions that they did answer, they answered with completely not important information.
Fair. Although,
So,
you know what?
And if that's the case, then what's the point of any of it? Because if the answers that were given aren't actually important, then neither are the questions.
The Sun Empire versus River Heralds thing, since they answered it, it means that it's not something that will be spelled out in the next set, and it's presumably something that you could have found out elsewhere.
Right.
Which means that if you really wanted to find it out, you probably could have. It may have been something that you would have had to wait until the art book comes out to read it in the art book, so that, when they give sketches of the Sun Empire or sketches of the River Heralds, they would tell you that they've been at war until the Legion of Dusk showed up or whatever. That's a possibility, and so they wanted to give it to us now as information so that people would know it as well. But, as Amy just pointed out correctly, it's not something that is vital for you to understand the remainder of the stories. It's just the kind of thing where it's like, oh, well, Whatley said this, so why did she say it that way? Oh, because they've actually had a conflict, but now they have a common enemy, so whatever. Kind of going from there. But yes, like Amy said, that's going to be a thread going through these stories, is that why would you ask that? They clearly can't answer it.
Right.
So, question number 3, asking about Jace's memories. Asking about how will he react to having his memories back, and will his friendship with Vraska continue? Really? That's really a question that you have? Do you really think that the first story, or maybe whatever, one of the first points that gets brought up when Rivals of Ixalan stories begin is not, oh my god, are they still together? Clearly it is a burning question, but it is not one that you ask to the story team now. That is a waste of one of your 10 questions.
Right.
Because their response was very light and colorful and bright with the language that they used, but the actual answer is wait until the Rivals of Ixalan stories come out. That question, I think above all others, infuriated me.
Yep.
Because it was like, why are you asking that question? The clear answer is, we will have to wait and see. And instead, it was asked, and so Wizard's story team decided to try to be flowery about it, but it was really just a waste of time.
Right. The whole thing was.
Well. So, on to number 4. The question was, why Vraska? Why did Bolas pick Vraska? Now, half of the answer we knew already from reading the stories, which was she was vulnerable. Bolas is smart, not necessarily vulnerable, but manipulatable. Bolas knew that she wanted something. She wanted to control the Golgari Guild. He promises her control of the Golgari Guild in return for doing what he wants. He needs a pawn. What is the best way to find a good pawn? Find someone who can be manipulated. Find someone who you can give them something that they want so that they can't refuse what you want from them. It's that simple. It's not a difficult, that should not, again, have been asked. Because if you're reading the story well enough, then you know it. And another possible answer to that question could have been, they need another named character. And so they picked Vraska. Instead of picking Wranglethorpe, a random planeswalker from X plane that Bolas was able to manipulate, because they could have just as easily done that, right? And just introduced a new character and made it be that character.
No, they wanted to bring us back to Ravnica again.
Correct.
Because, of course, all of the other characters that we need to keep remembering in terms of the whole planar bridge BS are on Ravnica.
Yep. Yeah, with Ralzeric and Project Lightning Bug, etc.
Right.
Now, the only thing out of that question that did give us something new, some new information, or some definitive information, I'll say, is where they say Bolas had no idea Jace was going to be there. That's a speculation that we talked about a lot when reading the stories, because we talked about the fact that the thematic compass led Vraska to Jace, but only because he tried to planeswalk, and so it led her to a large concentration of magic, which we just found out in this past story. But it was not something that we definitively knew. It was one of the options that we brought up, and now we definitively know that.
Yeah.
My opinion, separate and apart from anything that we've talked about already, is that's something that the story should have told us. I don't need to be told that in an interview that I read on Wizards' website. I should be shown that. Because if that is such a burning question, which it was something that, again, we speculated on, and there were a few different options. That definitive answer should be shown to us. And if it's going to be shown to us, it shouldn't be told to us in this interview. Because that's not how these stories work. Why give away that information beforehand?
I don't know. I don't understand this at all.
Speaking of that concept, question number 5 was about Angrath. This question didn't upset me as much as the Jace's Memories question did. This question worried me. Because they asked about Angrath, and by they I mean Chaz. Chaz asked about Angrath, and the question was, what plane is he from? How did he get here? What about, tell us about Angrath. And the story team just tells you everything about Angrath. Sure, maybe it's not everything. I apologize, that's not the right word. Told you a lot about Angrath. He's from a plane that we've never been to before. He's a family man. He's got 2 daughters. He ended up on Ixalan because he went on a weekend journey through the multiverse and ended up on Ixalan.
I was like, wow, this sounds dumb.
You thought it sounded dumb, that you weren't a fan of his backstory because his name is Angrath and he looks the way he does, and so, am I correct? That implying that he should have had...
His name is Angrath. Therefore, you'd think that it would have something to do with wrath or anger.
And for me, I don't care whether it has anything to do with anger or wrath. What I care about is the fact that you just told us all this information, which really just means to me that my excitement of going into Rivals of Ixalan and reading a story that tells us more about Angrath is likely now not going to happen. Because again, why would you tell us that information here if we're going to get a story that explains all of that later?
Because we're not.
That's my point. And now we're back to, if you're longtime JaAR viewers, we are back to the Arlen Cord situation all over again. And sure, maybe I'm biased because that Arlen Cord thing really frustrated me, but I don't think that's the case. Angrath seemed like a really cool character, and I was really looking forward to finding out information about Angrath through storytelling. Whether it be his story or whether it be a story told from his perspective, or whether it be a story told from Whatley's perspective, since we see Whatley teaming up with Angrath. Maybe she asks him these questions and he tells her, and he becomes a sympathetic figure to her because of his backstory. And if that's the case, if that actually happens, I don't know that I'll be happy that it happened, because you've already given me all of that information already. Why? Why would you tell it to me? So either way, I'm not going to be happy, because either you're going to reiterate the information that you told to me
and have wrath.
Yes, exactly. I'll be the one who is angry and has wrath, because you've either given it to me with no payout whatsoever, or you've introduced this character to me, and then you're gonna, I guess, pardon the phrase, but you're gonna leave me with blue balls and give me no new information about him whatsoever in a story, except that he's a strong Minotaur and that's about it.
Or the new information that they do give you feels pointless because of that information that they already gave you, and you're just sitting there going like, okay, well, how is this the same guy?
Right.
How is this backstory actually equating to the person we're seeing now? And we can't see this in between period of time until they decide to give us, whatever his plane is.
The story from, or the set from his plane.
Which is just dumb, because at that point, why do you even care?
I agree. So, moving on to the next couple of questions, they move on to vampires. And questions 6 and 7 refer to vampires, vampirism, the Dusk Legion, etc. And the first question talks about Saint Elenda. It says, is she still alive? Will we see her? Whatever. And they say that she's still alive. The response is, vampires tend not to die. That kind of makes sense.
Duh.
They've talked about her enough. It makes sense that we would get some kind of a payoff for Saint Elenda, whether we would actually meet her or whether we would actually find out what happened to her. The stories seem like they're headed in that direction. So again, kind of not a question that needed to be asked, and sure enough, as Amy has said, is frustrating to her, rightfully so, the story team was very vague in their response, which really just says to me that they will be getting there, because they said, she doesn't really know that the Legion of Dusk is on the path that they're on currently, and so how is she going to react to that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to actually read the stories and find out this information. Question number 7 is about vampirism and the immortal sun. It asks about whether Saint Elenda was in fact the first vampire, and there's a bug flying around in here. It asks whether Saint Elenda was actually the first vampire or not, and it asks about if they really want the immortal sun to get rid of their need for blood. They've told us that.
Right.
Amy's point when this question was read off, when I read off this question, was that you thought it was interesting because you'd never thought of it that way. But I think
I'd never thought of the possibility of it just being like, oh, well,
it's like a rallying point. They were questioning it as if it was a rallying point, which I think was something you said that you hadn't really thought of before as a concept. But I think that's because they made it pretty clear that the immortal sun was going to take away the bloodlust.
Right.
That's the whole point of them wanting the immortal sun, and I'm pretty sure they said that multiple times.
Right.
That question number 8 was about the winged beast that took the immortal sun to Araska. I didn't. There really wasn't much there for me to talk about. They said that it was the River Heralds called it one thing, the Sun Empire called it another. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
And question number 9 was what happened the last time the immortal sun was misused. What does that mean? And it talked about the fact that the Star of Extinction art, the art that was depicted on Star of Extinction, which they then showed us in the interview as well, was in fact a pictorial depiction of the power that was wielded by the Emperor from the Sun Empire, and that's kind of the power that could be wielded when in control of the immortal sun. Sure, that's fine, I guess. And number 10, just to cap it off with just the best, what is the immortal sun? I just wrote the whole thing down. Okay, the bug is gone now. I wrote the whole thing down because it was just the culmination of this whole thing. If you didn't read it, this is to give you an idea of what these questions were like. Yeah. Question number 10 asked, what is the immortal sun? Basically, I'm paraphrasing, this is not a quote. What is the immortal sun and why does Nicol Bolas want it? And again, to paraphrase, the answer to that question from the Magic Story team was, it's a powerful thing and Bolas wants it to do this one specific thing. Thank you. That is super in-depth, and I'm really glad that that was a question that needed to be asked to provide me with more information.
Right. Because it provided us with zero information.
Right. And then in closing...
Which, of course it did. Because they're not going to answer those questions.
Right. Now, we always want feedback from all of you watching in the comments. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Despite the level of passion that we have, if you enjoyed this, and I don't just mean that you got more information about Angrath, so that was cool, and you got a definitive answer as to whether Bolas knew that Jace was there or not, so you're happy about that. I mean overall, did you think all of these questions were necessary? Did you like them all? Please let us know in the comments down below, because there's still a little bit of time left in this video, obviously, but because I wrote down in the closing of the story, of this article, I should say, Chaz used the word we. He said, we didn't get all the answers we were looking for. Who's we? Who asked for this?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious. I saw people online today, the day that this article came out, saying, ooh, we found out more information about Angrath. Ooh, Jace, Bolas didn't know that Jace was there. Check it out. And kind of showing who asked for this? Who asked for any of these questions to actually be answered? If Amy is correct, it seems like just Chaz. It seems like just Chaz. And so I genuinely want to know. In the past, we have talked about this, I feel like every time there has been a gap between stories. Every time. We've talked about the fact that it's a waste of time to do this. It's a waste to throw these things in there because you feel like you want to keep us coming back week after week so that we don't stop coming and watching this stuff.
Let's come up with some sort of filler to take up the space.
And originally that filler was
just disappointing.
Yes, it was originally the story podcasts with multiple people that they were interviewing, one each week, and they were varying questions from the community that were compiled by Blake Rasmussen, and they were hit or miss.
Usually not that terrible.
I'll agree. They were hit or miss, but there were some really good ones.
Yeah.
Right? There were like one or two that were like
a couple of like decent ones.
Yes.
Or at least ones where you'd be like, oh, I never thought of asking that question, so it's kind of cool that someone else did, and now we get to hear the answer to it.
But the cool thing about that, or one of the cool things about that, was a lot of questions were asked, which means that they got to pick between them. I'm sure that there were many that were asked that they didn't answer, because they may not have been ones that they thought were worth the time to include and to answer.
Or that they would have had to answer like half of these questions with the vaguest answer possible.
Yes.
So they just didn't ask it.
So I think the reason I bring it up is because I think this was another opportunity for something like that to have occurred, and they just didn't do it. You could have gone on Twitter. Mark Rosewater does it every single set.
Yeah.
Go on Twitter, ask for questions. Go on Daily MTG and say, tomorrow we're tweeting about it, so follow me and send us your question or whatever. Make up an email account or something. Do something to make an article like this actually matter, and then take the questions out of that compilation of questions, compile them yourself if you want, and make a couple of questions that make sense for you to answer, and answer them. Don't do this. And, don't take one person. In no way am I saying, you know what, next time let Amy and I ask all the questions. We're clearly the ones. Hell no. Absolutely not. Because the questions that we want answered are not the questions that other people in the Vorthos community want, whether they are prominent names or whether they are unknown people who just enjoy the stories.
Right.
Right? We don't know that. Even if we were to say, hey, put questions in the comments and we'll send them along. No. Because that's such a small subset of the community. There's you do it through a larger way of doing it. I don't know the exact way. I'm just giving suggestions, but this did not work at all.
Nope. Sorry.
No, I'm not sorry, because I mean, looking at even if I had just seen these questions and not seen the answers, if you had submitted these questions to me and said, "Hey Joe, what do you think of these questions? Will they work?"
Right.
No. Because the answer is going to be, I could look at them and say the answer to that's going to be wait until Rivals of Ixalan comes out.
Yeah, there were a couple where you couldn't do that. The Angrath one.
No, the Angrath one, I still would have said that. I still would have said wait till Rivals because clearly they're going to give us an Angrath story.
But the answer they gave was detailed and
it
possibly interesting.
Yes, because again, as I said, that makes me afraid. It makes me afraid that we're not going to get an Angrath story now. God bless you.
Oh.
I saw that coming.
Oh,
the last thing we want to talk about, you can see it from the title down below. It's slightly self-promotional, but it's also something that we want to talk about. And while we are in a not-so-happy mood, I figure we can talk about this. We have opened the gift boxes on the channel that many times over the years when they come out. Right, we open one or two, we see what's inside, and then I genuinely use those boxes to store my cards. I have them in the other room. I'm not going to go take them. I didn't bring them in here because they're full of cards. They're actually kind of heavy, and moving them around is kind of annoying. But we use those. We open them, we use them. So when I saw on Magic's website that the gift pack was coming out again, before the holidays, I thought, great, I have more storage space now, I'll be able to open them for the channel, and so I went out and I bought 2 of them. And even though I saw them before I bought them, I still bought them, which you might say is dumb of me, and you would not necessarily be wrong, but this is Joe and Amy Review. I'm not going to open it here this Monday, and either next Monday or at some other point, I will be opening the other one of these gift packs. But this is the new gift pack. I know you kind of can't see it. You can look it up online or subscribe and you'll be able to see the video on Monday when it comes out. Obviously, that's the Monday after this video goes up live. So if you're watching this after the fact, it's probably already on the channel. But this is the gift pack. It's very small. It's very thin. So it is no longer really a card storage box of any kind. And inside of it, I actually wasn't aware until after I purchased it that it actually comes with a poster, which seems kind of cool, except that it's 8.5 inches by 13 inches, which means it's basically a sheet of loose leaf paper, maybe a little bit bigger, like from your standard
it's the
notebook.
size of that box.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing and upsetting, but...
Right, it's not even like folded up in there.
Right.
It's just the size of the box.
Right. And then inside of the box, usually in the gift box you get, 6 packs, something like that, like 5-6 packs. But you get dividers that can go in with your cards. You get stickers that you can put on the dividers that say lands, mythics, rares, set symbols, whatever. All of these things are useful for people to have. Now, clearly, if they're changing them up, my assumption is that they were not selling very well, which makes sense, so you want to try something new. This is what they've come up with. They've come up with this product, which usually we don't say how much we pay for things because you can go online or go to your local game store and find out how much it is, but to review it, I'm going to talk about the fact that this is $20. $20, you get 3 packs. 1 pack of Amonkhet, 1 pack of Hour of Devastation, and 1 pack of Ixalan. Usually, the gift packs have one set that they focus on. It is the main set release from the most recent main set release from that time, which would mean that this should have been solely Ixalan, or
Right.
would, not necessarily should, would have been solely Ixalan. Now we have 3 packs instead of 5 or 6, whatever it was, and they're 3 different packs. It comes with a spin down life counter, which is cool, I guess. If your store is nice and you're not ordering it online or something, they'll let you pick your color. So we have a blue one here. I think the other one's red. But it doesn't have any of the set symbols from Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, or Ixalan. It has just the Planeswalker symbol. So that's kind of cool if you want to collect those, although it's going to cost you $100 to collect all 5 of them if you buy 5 different packs. Or you can try to trade with your LGS or with somebody else or whatever.
Well, presumably next year when they put out the gift pack, it'll just also still be the Planeswalker symbol on the die, so...
Unless this doesn't sell well also when they come up with something entirely new and different.
Well...
The other thing is, and I think, in my opinion, the only cool thing about this whole thing is that there are 5 foil promo basic lands. Art by Mark Poole. It says promo on the bottom. It's got, as the set symbol, it's got the little like swoop that comes on the, I think the F&M promos have that. That's cool. For whatever reason, it also comes with a foil Kari Zev Skyship Raider and a foil Metalwork Colossus. Why? I don't know. Because they're 2 cards from sets that aren't here. They're from Kaladesh and Aether Revolt, even though we have Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, and Ixalan. So now you have 5 sets represented, but 2 of them are with single cards that, by the way, in the gift packs, sometimes they would give you like a promo foil, and it would be alternate art and foil. Right, and so, even if it was an uncommon or something, I think it was like an artifact uncommon last time. These are not promo foils. These are not alternate art. If you look at the bottom, it still says that it's from Kaladesh or from Aether Revolt. It still has the collector number on it. These are just pack foils. They're not even stamped like pre-release foils. If you opened a pack foil of either Kari Zev or Metalwork Colossus, you already have this card. There is nothing new, different, or special about these cards in this pack. I purchased this pack because we have a channel and we do openings, and I slotted in opening 2 of these when I decided what we were going to be doing for our product openings on Mondays.
We'll do 2 of the gift boxes when they come out.
Right.
Well...
So I bought this.
Not gift boxes anymore. They're
right. So I bought these. I'm not asking for sympathy because it's I made the choice. Right. I was standing in the store and I said, "Fine, give me 2." That's my fault. But we're still reviewing it, right? I think that it's low-hanging fruit to talk about the fact that this is just Pokemon packaging now. That this is just what Pokemon does, and I think everybody talks about that. So I'll bring it up that I'm at least aware of that argument, but that I really don't care. Because if it was something valid and something that I cared about, but it was similar to Pokemon packaging, I wouldn't care. My problem is, this makes no sense. I'll ask the same question that I asked earlier in this video for the other thing that we reviewed today. Who asked for this? Who is your target market for this product? Because...
Who said, gee, I really want a foil Kari Zev?
Because I'm pretty sure you could buy it for like $1.
Right. Not $20.
No. Maybe these lands...
But I get a loose leaf size poster of Nicol Bolas.
Look, all I will say is that the poster looks cool.
Yeah, the picture on the poster looks really cool. I will say that.
Yes. It's not worth $20.
No.
And even combined with the rest of this thing, I don't think this whole thing is worth $20. No. Even though it comes with 3 individual packs, which...
Yeah, the coolest thing is the lands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And If those things in the future collectively are worth $20, if they're worth $4 a piece, cool, I've made my money back. I don't think so.
Doubt it.
This is ridiculous. I don't get it. I really don't. Now, I said that we review Vorthos content, and so this is just something else that our channel does, right? We open product every Monday as well. We talk about the art, we talk about that. I'm just talking about Wizards of the Coast as a business, their business decision of making this product. I don't see it.
You know what
I liked the gift boxes. A lot of people didn't. They fixed the gift boxes recently. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
They fixed the gift boxes recently because the gift boxes used to rip. You would stack something on top of it, or you would pick it up, and it would rip the sides where the side of the box was, because it kind of sat over the other piece, and so it would like kind of clamshell too far and rip the corners off, and it would look awful, and it wouldn't hold as well, and it would kind of fall awkwardly. They fixed that recently. So I was much more appreciative. Go watch our other videos. I talk about that in I guess the Kaladesh ones that we opened last year. It was great. Now we have this. I'm not keeping this box after I open it. There's no reason to. You know, I heard some people talking about keeping it sealed. Again, maybe if these lands blow up, but there's 3 packs in here.
I don't see anything that would give you value if you kept it sealed.
The only thing, I guess, is the possibility in Amonkhet or Hour of Devastation for an invocation. But even then, we are in 2017. There is no more, oh man, if I keep this piece of sealed product in 20 years, it's going to be worth $1,000. No, because everybody and their mother buys up sealed product and stashes it away.
Right.
You know, there's always, unless you are the person who I'm talking about, there's always going to be somebody with more money than you and more storage space than you, who is deciding that that is going to be their nest egg. They're just going to buy boxes of every Magic set, and when a card from it turns out to be Tarmogoyf in 20 years and blows up to ridiculous amounts of money, and the sealed product is worth 6 times what it was when you paid for it, it's not going to be a thing, because the market is just going to flood with all these things, the secondary market, again.
Right.
It's not a reserved list situation. So, and we're not an MTG finance channel. We're not. We do finance bundle battles, but that's about it. But still, go watch other actual finance channels, and you'll hear the same thing from them, because they do it a lot better than we do, which is why I don't do those things. But this is the gift pack. I'll be opening it on Monday. Are you excited? Because I'm not. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this, what I gather is that the gift boxes, the way they were, I feel like were product made for people who enjoy Magic.
Made for collectors, made for, yeah.
I feel that this is made for people to buy, people who enjoy Magic.
Yes.
So if you enjoy Magic and I have no clue anything about Magic, this is what I get for you.
And you know what this is for?
Merry Christmas.
Right. And I mean, obviously,
Happy
right?
birthday.
Right.
You know,
and
whatever
this
it is.
This is for the Walmarts and the Targets of the world.
Right.
To put on their shelves to make it look flashy and nice.
Right.
Because
like, oh, you know, or to get, you know, young kids involved.
Yeah.
You know, it's not for people who actually enjoy Magic, who are going to go and buy product. This is not what you buy.
Yep.
You know, this is what, you know, grandma buys you because you say you like Magic the Gathering and you wrote it down for her. And so she goes to the store and goes to, you know, somebody who works there and, can you find this for me? No.
I'm looking for the Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, again, like I said earlier about...
Do you have any coupons?
Like I said...
It's so expensive.
Like I said earlier about the article, if you have a differing opinion, I'm genuinely curious to hear it. Because if you are aware of who this is a market for, and it's not grandma, which I 100% agree with you, by the way. If that wasn't clear, I 100% agree with Amy that is who this is for. This is for aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, people who are like, I have no idea what this nonsense is, but Billy says he wants it, so I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to say Magic the Gathering, and I'm going to see gift pack. The word gift is on it, so I'm buying it. It's 20 bucks. It's not a lot of money to those people, so it's a nice gift where...
Well, it is to grandma,
right.
Everything is.
Yeah, well, you know, she gives the check for $15 every year, but so
I thought it was 10.
It's usually like, I think the classic joke is that it's like a random number. It's like $11.50 or whatever. Like $1 for every year you've been alive. Thanks, Grandma. Anyway.
That's funny.
Not to the kid who's getting $10 every year.
Wow.
Anyway, so this gift box, like I said, that opening will be out Monday. We want to know your opinions on the gift pack, on the articles. I think overall I'd really prefer article more so than gift box, or gift pack, excuse me. But I welcome both,
Also,
especially
if you have any coupons for the gift pack, please leave that in the comments section as well.
Yes.
Or rebates, because maybe we could get a rebate since we spent $20 on this.
Yeah, we
got 2 of them, so we could use a rebate because this thing ain't worth it.
Maybe you have the inside track. Maybe you're like, Joe, these Mark Poole lands are going to be big. And you know what? It wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Some of these lands look gorgeous. In foil, not in foil, the art is very pretty. And again, watch Monday's video. We can crack into it a little bit better because it's kind of hard to see. One other point I wanted to bring up about this, because this is a point that I thought of that bothers the crap out of me. Talk about missed opportunities, and it wouldn't have made it 100% better, but it would have helped a little bit. There's a foil Kari Zev in here. You know what there isn't? A foil Ragavan token. What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you not put the foil token in here? That would make it sell. People like that stuff. How do you not know that? You made, and obviously I'm talking to Wizards here, you made a flip foil zombie token that everybody loved. They loved it. It was a double-sided foil token. How do you not put foil Ragavan in here? Why would you not put... that blows my mind, and I'm really upset that I forgot to mention it until now, because I feel like some people have turned off the video by now and missed this point. Foil Ragavan would have been awesome in here. It still wouldn't have made this worth $20, but it would have done a lot to help. How do you not have foil? Anyway, we're done. We're done with
the end of the video, guys.
If there is more Vorthos content out next week, we will be reviewing it. Hopefully we will be happier than we are this week.
Hopefully there'll be something and it'll be worth a damn.
If there is no Vorthos content, we will still have other things to review. So we will still be here so that we can still say that we have this show every Thursday, we have product openings every Monday, and I do Magic Online drafts poorly every Saturday. It's just kind of them. I sure do them. So come on back. You can subscribe with our logo up here and find out when those videos come out. Click on the other videos that are on the screen. This has been another episode of JaAR. Thank you guys so much for watching and chilling with us all the way through to here. Amy said to me before this video, I was like, this is going to be a short one. She's like, they're never short ones.
We say that every time.
There you go.
Never is.
Sorry, everyone. We got upset and talked for a while.
Well, hopefully, you feel like you're in the same boat. Well, I shouldn't say hopefully you're in the same boat, because that would not be very fortunate.
We don't wish this on you.
Right, we don't.
This is frustrating.
But hopefully, if you are frustrated, that you can kind of watch our videos and feel a little bit better that you're in good company.
Yeah, commiserate with us. Anyway, yes, that is our opinions. That is where we're going to leave it. The passion that we are showing could also be called...
Vorthos Pride.
Thank you guys for joining us.
We didn't say hashtag, though.
We didn't. But regardless, thank you guys for watching and hanging out with us. This has been another episode of JaAR on Geek for All. I've been Joe.
And I'm Amy.
And as we always say, in whichever video of ours you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.